So we'll move on to our first question then, which is I should do the 5 pillars of bliss to remind everyone, which are bravery, laughter, inspiration, spark, and success. So starting with bravery, can you pinpoint a moment in your life which you think was your bravest?
So I've got 2 that I want to cover as my bravest. One was when I actually gave up my job in a law firm. I'd been offered redundancy and offered my own job back. I went back to it, but the process had made me fall out of love with a lot of aspects of my job. So I gave up work. My youngest son had a year before he went to school. And I thought, well, I can spend some time with him. Let's see what happens. And ended up setting up my own business. I'd never thought I'd set up my own business. I'd never thought I'd kind of become an entrepreneur, innovate and all this kind of stuff. So it was a big leap for me. I like comfort blankets, fun and comfy, comes in the name. But so for me, that was quite a big leap of faith to do that and to give up what was a well-paid job, which had status, which had flexibility, which had intellectual challenge, and just leap into the unknown.
Yeah, it is a big move. If that's a big move, something that I'm sort of in the process of doing, of transitioning from one field to another. And it's scary because obviously as a lawyer, you're well paid, as you say, you've got that comfort. But sometimes you've just got to jump out the plane and take a parachute with you, but jump out the plane anyway.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to get established with your new business?
A lot. So I think I probably didn't take it seriously for some time because I had young children and they were effectively my excuse. So I set up the business, I did a training qualification, I did some workshops with people. And then I think when I would set up my limited company 10 years ago, I started to pay more attention to driving business and working for myself rather than being an associate for training providers and stuff. So it took a while. I had a few mentors along the way, some of whom really, really helped me to see the value that I had that I wasn't noticing. And to take myself and my business seriously. So probably it took me a good 5 or 6 years to really begin to think, I've got something that other people value and something that might be good for them.
Yeah. And it's a great experience, though, actually setting up your own business. Yes, and clearly, so you've got that freedom that when you work for a law firm, you've got every second accounted for. Haven't you?
Yeah, and I could bring my whole self to the business. Because I remember talking to law firms years ago and say, why don't we translate all our documents into plain English? And this, well, we could, but clients don't want it, so why would we bother? So are you sure they don't want it? And I would kind of try to set up spreadsheets to make their processes better, and they went, we don't really do spreadsheets. Look, well, they're now all into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I was just ahead of my time, and I just kept getting knocked back and thinking, maybe this is not the place that's going to fulfill all my, all of who I am. I can bring my whole self to work. So, setting up my own business has allowed me to play and do all sorts of things that I didn't have a business plan for, but I've really enjoyed doing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Once you start out, you sort of stumble into all different areas.
Completely.
Yeah. So that was your first one. You said you had 2 breaks.
Yeah. So my other one is probably by the time this goes out, me and my husband are setting off on a 5-month sabbatical on our tandem.
Oh, right.
We're cycling 5,000 miles around Europe.
Wow.
So that's quite a bit. He's never taken time off work. He's been working he worked for a pharmaceutical company for 33 years. I've had paternity leave and sick leaves, but we're leaving everything that I know, my home, my children, and the children are at university, but leaving everything I know, my business, and just putting it all on hold and going away and moving virtually every single day to a new place. So for me, that's quite a big, I'm beginning to feel nervous about the whole thing. We've planned it to the nth degree. It'll be fine, but I'm starting to feel hot and sweaty just talking about it. So I know that it's a mix of terror and excitement.
Yeah.
And I'm never quite sure at any point which one I'm in.
Yeah. Maybe just say it's excitement and then, So what made you want to do that?
We can't remember why it started, but I think about 10 years ago, maybe a bit less, we said, maybe when the kids are grown up, we could cycle our tandem to Istanbul. And it was just like a jazz in the background. And then during the pandemic, we did a lot of cycling on our tandem because it was the one thing you're allowed to do, go out and have your exercise. And then we took it to the Swiss Alps and the French Alps and said, we can get up all these hills that we're going to need to get up. This is looking real. And then really sadly, about 18 months ago, a really good friend of ours had a brain aneurysm and dropped dead. And she wasn't even 50. And we were like, oh, maybe this is a sign that we don't know. We could leave it until we retired, but we might never get there. So for us, it was a bit of a do it now, because there may never be another time to do it. So it was just let's just do it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. So many people retire, and then within weeks, sometimes they've passed away. And it's like somehow either the adrenaline of their job is keeping them going, or they then suddenly completely lose their purpose because they are retired. So, I'm all for people doing their bucket list while they're alive. And I always say that I don't want to wait to get some sort of terminal diagnosis to go, oh, right, now I'm going to do everything.
But my dad worked really hard. He was a type 1 diabetic, but he worked hard to get pensions that he thought would help my mum and him go travelling when they were in their retirement. And he died 2 years after retirement and never got to see all that hard work and planning come to any use for him. And it broke my heart. And I think it was just really sad that he didn't enjoy his retirement. He worked really hard for all those years to support his family and didn't get to enjoy it. So, if we're going to go through enjoying it now, I love that. Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask technical questions about tandems because I've never been on a tandem and I'm very intrigued. So, does it make it easier having two people?
Yes and no.
Right.
So it's very sociable, because you don't have that difference that he's stronger than me and, all that kind of stuff. We can talk to each other. He's in charge. And the geometry of a tandem means a tall person has to be at the front. My husband's nearly over a foot taller than me, so he's always at the front. So he does the navigating and the gears. And I just sit at the back and pedal and look at the views and just enjoy the whole experience. So I have a slightly easier job in the sense that I don't have such a mental involvement, but the physical involvement is exactly the same front and back.
Yeah,
I can feel when he's looking at the map and he's slightly distracted because the pressure on his pedals comes off slightly.
And I say, it sort of ease off and take it into now?
You can really tell. He knows when I'm taking a photo from the back because I'm not paying the same attention to my feet as when I'm not taking a photo. So it's really easy to tell when somebody struggling or when somebody's just trying to take it easy.
Yeah. So you're going to have all your belongings strapped to the bikes? Or
no, panniers. Panniers. So we've got 25 kilos between us, including the bags.
Right. So you've had to be very...
We have you with your... Absolutely. Yeah. Everything's taking a weight. We're weighing everything.
Oh, yeah. I was almost say that you've got to push that weight then.
Nobody's ever got to the top of the hill and thought, God, I wish I'd had that set of weights with me. I could pump some iron when I got to the top because I'm feeling really good. So, no. You have to be really ruthless when it comes to packing.
Yeah. So you're going to cycle. Are you getting a ferry, I presume?
Yeah, so we're getting a ferry because you can't put a tandem. It's too long to go on a plane or a train. So we don't really have a get-out clause, which is one of the reasons why we're, in the end, not going to Istanbul. We're cycling to Albania and back. So we're doing a circular route because we can get the tandem home. So we're cycling from home.
So obviously you've got to cycle back.
We're literally cycling away from home and cycling all the way back. And maybe the exit plan is to lock the bike somewhere and just take a plane home. But we've had this tandem for about 25 years, so it's almost one of the family.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to...
Not on the same level as my kids, but
Yeah. Wow, that's so exciting. So, and what, are you going to be staying in, like, hostel? Have you planned each stop?
No, because we wanted to give it a couple of weeks to settle down, to check what progress we're making, weather and all this kind of stuff. So we will normally book it somewhere between 3 and 7 days in advance.
Yeah.
So we have a route planned because we needed to work out the Schengen area, how long we were going to be in Europe, some 90 days. So we've got a French visa, which cuts off the first 3 weeks. So we planned it all out on a tool, cycle mapping tool, just to see where we might go. And also just to start kind of getting excited about places we want to go to.
Yeah, so you want to actually take in places you might never...
Yeah, so we're not going to be cycling every single day.
No.
But we've got some friends that we wanted to visit in France. We've got some places we wanted to go. In Italy, we're spending 7 weeks in Italy. Decided a really wiki route because we both love Italy. So I've been learning Italian for the last 5 months just so that we can stop to make conversation.
Yeah.
So the rest of it will be up in the air. We've got a rough idea where we're going, but we know that no plan survives the first day of wet weather on our bicycle.
Now, well, hopefully you're coming into a better period of weather in Europe.
We hope so. Fingers crossed. I hope so, without too many heat waves, because heat on a bicycle is quite difficult to cope with sometimes.
It's just bad being hot and it's raining, isn't it?
But we can always get up in the middle of the night, cycle when it's cooler, and then sleep all day.
Yeah. Well, you'll have earned your pasta when you're cycling. Well, you're certainly will have earned
Pretty much everything.
every meal. And are you going to like record it? Are you going to vlog it or do some kind of record of what you're doing?
So I'm going to write a bit of an eclectic diary, but not a sort of standard diary. We're going to record it all on Strava just so we've got a record so when we come home we can go, actually, yeah, we did do 5,000 miles. Just because I don't think we'll believe it almost when we go home, because it'll all have kind of gone so fast and it'll be, oh, what were we doing on which days? And then I'm also going to record an audio diary.
Yeah.
Just so that I've got a bit more of a sort of immediate in the moment, but also something that I don't have to carry, because obviously paper diaries for 5 months takes quite a lot of time. So we're going to try and keep it as simple as possible, because we didn't want to create a job on top of doing the trip. No, the trip is quite a big job, just because every day you've got to move on, find food, find accommodation, check your routes. So mentally, there's quite a lot of work to do on every single day without thinking, have we posted today?
Yeah. Well, I think you might get another book out of it, though.
Might get a keynote out of it. Yeah, importantly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm thinking, I presume you've watched things like Race Across the World.
Yes. Yeah.
Did that inspire you at all? Or...
No, we already had the idea. Not really. We'd already had the idea. And a chat we know sent us a book called A Year on a Bike by a Dutch cyclist who just basically set off and cycle for a year. He's out and he's up for about 2 years on a bike. But he's, taken a much more photographic approach to his route. And we're not quite sure how much photography we're going to do.
Yeah.
We'd love to take a big camera, but the weight of the camera, the chargers, the lenses and everything else makes it less attractive.
Yeah, that's a bit tricky.
It is.
Well, I wish you the best with that. Thank you. And I don't know if I need to ask you if you've got braver as you've got older, because I think doing something like that pretty much proves that.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. But have you got braver as you got older, or have you always been quite a resilient person, when you say?
I think, it's quite interesting. I had a bad accident in my 20s where I broke my arm really seriously, doing something which I thought at the time was really brave, and obviously turned out to be really stupid rather than really brave. And that put me off physical bravery for a while. But I've had 3 boys, and they really encouraged me in a lot of respects, because they kind of, 2 of them at least have a bit of a, what's the worst that can happen, Mum?
Yeah.
And I've seen the way we've done more active stuff with them, and how much joy they had out of it, but also how much better they were outdoors and doing brave things. And we've done Via Ferratas with them, and which is basically climbing up mountains strapped to old wire. I forced myself, in fact, in some respects, to be braver. And I have a bit of a fear of heights, but I tried not to pass it on to my kids, because I know that Dad doesn't, and his parents don't have any fears of ledges or ridges or heights or anything. And I didn't want to influence them that this was something to be afraid of. I was just afraid of it. And that's my thing to deal with. And they were lovely about it. And actually, one of them was really, really helpful when we got to bits he knew that I was getting twitchy about. He'd just really calmly stay with me, and we wouldn't talk or anything. He would just lend me through it. And I think that really helped me to realise that I just needed a bit of support and I could do it.
Yeah, I think that's the same with most things, is you've got to push yourself, but with the right support, things are achievable. Because I was never a very sporty child at all. I broke my arm on an aerial slide when I was 10. That had this is back in the day when there was no safe.
Yeah.
Had no straps or anything, just bang straight on the floor.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like that at all. But with the kids and with my wife, I have become more daring. So I've had to go like paddle boarding, driven around Alton Park at 120 miles an hour. I do drive quite fast anyway, but I think that's something that shocks me sometimes, and I think it's good to sort of shock yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I took a flying lesson, and a friend took me up in. We bid in an auction, a charity auction, for a trip in somebody's chipmunk, and he said, "Do you want to loop the loop?" We said, "Yeah." He said, "Not everyone's good with the looping the loop. Quite a lot of them find the travel sickness comes in." Anyway, we finished the loop, and it was a beautiful day. We were near Alton Park. We're going out of Liverpool Airport, and he said, he was in front of me, so we were sitting tandem. He was in front, I was behind, and he was desperate to know whether I was going to be sick and whether I'd gone green. And he goes, "How was that?" And I just could not speak, because it had been so much fun, and we had an amazing afternoon buzzing around doing acrobatics in the skies above. It was just brilliant. And I thought, do you know what? That's not an experience I would have thought automatically that I'd have enjoyed, but I loved it. And I suppose I do have history. I did get engaged on a roller coaster.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So the eighth,
I need that story.
it was the 8th roller coaster of the day. My husband had asked me to marry him in February on Valentine's Day, but I wasn't expecting it. For some reason, we would go to see my parents, and he said we needed to get back nice and early. And I thought, I don't know where this came from, that we were going go-karting. But he wanted to get back because he'd ordered 50 red roses. So how much that must have cost him on February the 14th, God, I don't know. And we were in a rented accommodation, and he gave them to me. He said, will you marry me? And I went, no, I'm going to go go-karting. And I was like, oh, shit, that's what I'm answering. So it was quite awkward that day because he thought we were going to go out for a lovely meal and all this kind of stuff. And I was just like, I think I might have messed that up somewhat. So we gave it a couple of months. So his birthday was in May, and we went to Blackpool for his birthday. And I thought, I quite like the idea, not of getting engaged in a rotting rented accommodation, irrespective of the 50 red roses, but actually getting engaged on a roller coaster is quite a good story. So I just kept bottling it. Every time we realized, I was like, no, not this one. We were like on the 8th of the day, and I thought, then this one, definitely. So we were just going up to the top, and I thought, I'd give him a bit of time to think it through. So that right at the top, he'd say yes. And he was just like, I said, will you marry me? He goes, yes. It's like, no, that's not quite, the timing's great. And it was fine. It was just brilliant. I'm probably the only person who screamed for 3 straight minutes after getting engaged. But, you know,
I was that.
It was a much better story than the previous one.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and like you say, a great story to tell and tell the kids as well.
Yeah.